you're going to wear the uniform, you got to sell the cookies. Otherwise, what's the point of even going over to the house?
Hey everyone, welcome to 3 Gigs, the podcast that tells the stories of 3 shows that have had a profound effect on the performers' lives and careers. Their very first show, their best show, and their worst show. I'm your host Dominic Davey, and today we're talking to Jay Northington, guitarist and vocalist for the band Nothington. This episode is brought to you by Fresh Clean Tees. It's like a shave club, but they offer the most awesome t-shirts you're ever going to wear. Seriously, they look amazing and they feel even better. I love mine. To save 20% off your first shipment, go to freshcleantees.com and enter the coupon code GIG at the checkout. That's freshcleantees.com and use the offer code GIG. Okay, this is a fun story to tell for me because Jay first got on people's radar by being in my band, Tsunami Bomb, only he and I never played together. I stopped playing in Tsunami Bomb back in 2003, and Jay joined the band as their guitarist in 2004, so I never got to play with him. But I instantly loved his approach to the band's music, and his skill at guitar was unquestionable. After Tsunami Bomb officially ended in 2005, he approached Tsunami Bomb drummer Gabe Lindemann about continuing forward with a brand new band that would feature Jay on vocals. So the two of them started to practice in the same infamous Lindemann woodshop in Petaluma, California, that Tsunami Bomb practiced and demoed in for years. They were soon joined by guitarist, vocalist Chris Matulich, formerly of the band Enemy U, and Mike Hicks from Time Spent Driving took over on bass. From there they took off running, and BYO Records would put out their first full-length record, All In February of 2007, and the band would go on to tour like madmen. Fast forward to 2017, 10 years, many tours, lineup changes, and extended hiatus later, Nothington is back swinging for the fences with the release of In the End on Red Scare Records. This is an explosive 11-song LP the band is touring behind right now, and I was able to catch up with Jay as he was preparing for his European tour and caught him while he was actually in a taxi. Hey, I'm extremely grateful he was able to make time for us at all. So there's a slight lag in replies due to the connection, but Jay was able to tell us a few stories, starting with his very first show ever.
I played Fade to Black by Metallica at the 4th grade talent show. And it was really weird. There was like 500 people who didn't think that I was actually playing it, but I was. And yeah, it was a weird lunch hour after that.
So wait a minute. Nobody believed that it was actually you?
Yeah, they thought I was playing to like... I guess, how do you say lip syncing to a guitar track? But I actually was doing that in 4th grade. It was fun.
That's impressive. That's no small feat at 4th grade.
Yeah. I had a reasonable guitar teacher.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, well, just to phase in, what was like, as a counter to that, what was like your first band show like? What do you feel like was your first show in a band performing?
Fuck. We played the Strand in Marietta, Georgia, and it was a nightmare.
Was it?
And I had a 7-string guitar, which I shouldn't say that out loud, but I did. First real Nothington show, though, was at Gilman, which was super fun.
Yeah?
But it was before Gilman really, took a turn, I guess. They're still pulling it off, but it's different than what it was in mid-90s.
Yeah, it felt you're talking about it. Did feel there was a time where it felt a little bit more. There's just a little bit more to it, a little more free to it, a little more freedom to it. It has definitely had to weather some kind of tough phases since then.
And the Pyramid Brewery closed down, so I don't have a place to drink anymore.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's
bummer.
True. So wait, so what year, when was that first show?
It was 2007 for Nothington at Gilman.
That's
It
awesome.
was Gabe, me, Chris, and Mike Hicks.
Wow. And who were
Years
you
and
guys?
years ago.
Were you guys opening? Like, did you open the show, or
No,
did you...
we actually just, it was like our show. It was kind of our, kickoff show for We're a Band Now.
That's awesome. So you headlined Nothington headlined its first show ever. That's kind of awesome.
Indeed.
And it was a good crowd. I mean, Gilman back then, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was decent. I mean, there was probably like 40, 50 people there.
It's a good start, man.
Nothing to write home about, but,
All
Our
right.
fifth show after that was opening for Bouncing Souls at Punk Rock Bowling in Vegas, but that was BYO's doing, so
Yeah.
we were all terrified.
That's pretty funny. So things kind of took off though, then for Nothington pretty quick, and I kind of remember watching it. It felt like it took off pretty quick. Like you guys were on the map like immediately.
Yeah, BYO did the old school like marketing and booking and all that stuff, and it was cool. Like they did a really good job of what they were going for, but the old school way of doing things soon became, it was obvious that was not the way shit was going anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, things have changed a lot in a very short amount of
But
time.
I mean, they were one of the first labels ever though to like start pressing vinyl with the download cards for, iTunes inside the records.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Yeah, I mean, just as a side note, one moment that I remember gave me chills was you guys playing in Florida, I think it was, the festival, and there's a video of you guys starting a song, and literally the crowd erupts singing along to you guys, and you can see your faces as you guys all kind of flinch back, like, oh, shit, everyone's singing,
Yeah.
and it was just so
then
awesome.
That happened.
That was still fairly early on.
Yeah, it was one of the first songs we had off the Where I Stand song. Everybody flipped their shit over it, and it was cool. It was really fun to like have people, give a shit.
Yeah, that's like the best part is that people actually give it a shit. So okay, awesome. So yeah, Nothington kind of hit the ground running, you guys, and it really put itself out there. I mean, it helps your songs. Your songs didn't suck. It was a good band. It's a solid band. It was awesome. It was fun to watch you guys take off so fast. But it's interesting. You headlined your first show at the Gilman. That's awesome. So what was like one of the best shows you've ever played, like in your memory? Like what's something that you hold on to as like one of the best shows out there?
I mean, as things go, Grows Rock a few years ago when we played in Belgium was awesome. We played one of the main stage, but it was only like we started at 10:30 in the morning, and they told me that at 8 a.m. and I threw up on myself and was really upset that we were going on that early and it sucked. But then like 4,000 people apparently gave a shit, so super fun. But honestly, one of the best shows ever for Nothington was actually when I was doing it by myself. I played the 10-year anniversary for Red Scare in Chicago, and like my dad and my older brother were there. And after the show, my dad came up and he said, "You know what? I finally get it." And to me, that was just really heartfelt because he'd seen me playing, the Tsunami days and all that, but he didn't really ever get it until I played like solo acoustic in front of like, a few hundred people, and they were all singing along and stuff. And he said, "I finally get it." And that was probably the best show for me ever.
That makes sense. That's really funny because I had a similar moment with my father when he saw me play the Fillmore. And he was always really supportive. It wasn't about him getting it. But it was the moment he came up to me after that show and was just like, "I'm so proud of you." Like, and I was like, that is one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, it's a proud moment. And it's there's nothing you can trade for that.
No.
Kind of awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, doing music, trying to be a musician, that's kind of a crazy thing to try and pitch to people sometimes, and they don't always get. I mean, even to this day, I try to explain ideas to even other musicians that I have for songs, and before I can articulate it, they look at me as if I'm coming from outer space until they finally see the song and people sing along to the song, and then they go, then they get it. It's like when you create things as an artist, when you make things, when you perform as a musician, it's like, it's really hard to get completely understood where you're coming from, and especially to convince your parents, like, yeah, I want to play music for a living. I want that to be part of my life. It's a tough sell. So it's kind of...
Indeed.
Yeah, it's kind of an important moment. That's awesome. So... it's funny that an acoustic show by yourself playing some songs that people sing along would be at the moment, but I totally get that.
It was the validation.
Yeah, that's the big one. So when did that happen, if I can ask? What year? When was that show?
It was a couple years ago, and then Red Scare came and he basically said, "Oh shit, I forgot. We have to do a Red Scare interview, and for WGN in Chicago." And he said, "You look sober." And I was like, "Well, yeah, my dad's here." I was, kind of laying off the sauce. So he pulled me and Dave Jones from NMEU aside, took us down to WGN, and we did an interview on national radio with them. And that was the last time I saw Dave before he killed himself. And it was kind of, looking back, it's really bittersweet, knowing that the last time we all hung out together was, a super good time, but then that was the last time I ever saw him alive. So
I know. Yeah, that's tough.
Kind of fucked up, but kind of awesome, It was, like I said, bittersweet, but I'm glad that's my last memory.
Yeah, I mean, life is... I've always looked at it as like, I've lost a lot of friends, and unfortunately far more than I'd like to admit, to suicide. And it's really just moments that matter, those moments that you hold on to. So at least you have that.
Indeed.
That's awesome. That's cool that you have that, as much as that bittersweet, there's that bittersweet tinge to it. Thank you, seriously, for doing this. This is awesome. So, I mean, really,
for sure.
At this point, the last question, what was what's the story of one of your worst shows that you played?
Beauty of this question is I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our worst shows, I think, was when we were already a bit established. It was a few years ago. We went through Omaha, and it was just maybe 3 or 4 people paid. And, 2 nights later, we were playing in front of 1,000 people in Chicago. So, it was just heartbreaking of how little the turnout was. However, all the guys that ran the club were like, "Look, man, we know you guys can't afford any place to stay. You're welcome to sleep here on the couches." And I'll never forget, my bass player he had a tent that he brought on tour, and he just set up his tent right in front of the stage, crashed out, and was like, "All right, you guys, no one else is allowed in here. I'm going to sleep." But we all just crashed out on the couches in the venue, and we all made ramen noodles and shit, and we're supposed to have our hotels and stuff like that, but everyone was just like, fuck it, we're back to where we were. And it was probably the worst show of the tour, definitely monetarily, but we all should have been really bummed out. But then we woke up the next day and we're like, these people were so fucking cool to us that the fact that 3 people turned out in Omaha, those 3 people meant the world. So you can call it the worst show, or you can call it something that, reestablishes your faith in humanity. Something like that.
I have to say, I've asked a lot of people that question for this show, and you are the only one so far that have told a story about the worst show, but how great at the same time it was of a moment, It
ended up being awesome.
Yeah, it's like you still turned it into something kind of cool. I'm still picturing a tent being pitched in the middle of a dance of a show floor. It
was hilarious. He may as well have been guarding his space. He's like, "None of you fuckers better creep into my tent. I've got my tent set up. You sleep on couches, and hopefully you don't get scabies."
It sounds so bizarre.
Like I said, that being said, it was the worst show of tour, but all the people were so cool that it actually, like I said, it restored my faith in people a little bit.
Right. Just the fact, it was just a good reminder that people are just, it's still, it's not all business. It's not all weird ridiculousness and ego.
they knew that shit sucked and they were losing money,
Right.
but they were still nice about it and offered us their microwave and their fucking cup of doodles.
That's
So
awesome.
we were all happy. It was fucking cold out. I didn't want to sleep in the van.
Yeah. Spent a lot of cold nights in a van. I understand. Well, that's awesome, man. That's a great story. And honestly, those are the questions. I really appreciate you taking the time to do it. I got to say, Jay, I've always had a lot of respect for you and your talent. I love your band. You're the only member of Tsunami Bomb that I didn't get to play with that I really, really wish I had. I wish you...
Same goes here, man. And I have enough respect and friendship with you that I was able to just be like, all right, I'm calling you first.
Well,
Let's see what happens here.
I really appreciate it because, honestly, I have nothing but respect for you. I absolutely love the new songs. I'm so excited for you and your band. I think you guys are going to do great with this album. I'm really excited about it. Toby's a great guy. Red Scare's an amazing label. I think you guys are going to come out swinging, and I can't wait to see it happen. So I'm thrilled.
Here we go, man.
I'm lost again. My new tailspin. The glassware. He's piling up.
If you're like me, t-shirts are probably a staple of your wardrobe, which is why I'm really excited to have Fresh Clean Tees as a sponsor of this podcast. Seriously, these are the best t-shirts you're ever going to wear. They look and feel great. I really love the ones I have. There's no good reason to overpay for a t-shirt, no matter what sort of fancy cotton they claim to be using. Fresh Clean Tees is like those popular shave clubs, but for super soft, stylish, affordable t-shirts. Getting started is simple. Choose between monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly delivery options. Answer a few questions about your size, style, and color preferences, and that's it. Head over to freshcleantees.com right now and use promo code GIG for 20% off at checkout. Again, that's promo code GIG to take 20% off your first Fresh Clean Tees order. We thank them for supporting this podcast, and remember, when you support our sponsors, you're really supporting us. Alright, you've been listening to Jay Northington from the band Nothington. Nothington have a brand new album out on Red Scare Records called In the End, and this episode's theme song is called The Lies I Need from that very album. Check them out at Nothington.com. You can also follow Nothington on Facebook and on Twitter, and the album is in stores everywhere right now. Thank you so much for listening to the show tonight. A huge thank you to Jay for making time to be on the show. If you like what you hear, please give the show a good rating and leave a comment on the iTunes page. It helps us spread the word and reach new people, and it really, really does help. For more info on the show and on Nothington, check out my website at 3gigspodcast.com. That's the number 3, gigspodcast.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram just by looking us up. Once again, my name is Dominic Davey, and this is 3 Gigs. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.